Welcome everyone to Meet Follower of One. Today our guest is Lori Drury from Biblical Business Training, or BBT. And Lori, would you introduce yourself a little bit and tell folks a little bit about you, where you are, where you're from, and how you got involved with BBT, what it is?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I am coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, and it is nice and sunny here, drier than it has been. I think we're getting that touch of spring at the moment. So I have worn many hats with BBT over the years. I worked with the founder as he was coming up with the organization. I say BBT because it's easier than the mouthful of biblical business training, but it's also important to know that's what it stands for, as you can see behind me. But watching how God was working in the workplace through him, Bible study applied to work in a corporate environment, was really a different type of leadership style than I was used to. And so again, because when you're around things, it can be a little contagious. I joined a Bible study with his wife. And so I've been a participant, I've led groups. Then I was hired on as staff when I was making a job transition, and then came into, and obviously I was donating to the organization too as a group member because I was being so blessed by the organization through Bible study and the group that I was in. But then I also, almost 5 years ago now, took on the leadership role when there was some transition. And so I joke with the founder now that I know it better than he does as the founder, but I have the blessing that our nonprofit sits within his our founder's for-profit company in St. Louis. So I have the blessing of seeing him and asking him a quick question about what we have on the budget coming up or this or that, because he still serves on our board. And it's just been a blessed journey for me to take that leap of faith out of corporate America into a nonprofit and now be leading and meeting all the people around the world that we get to serve through BBT. And I really didn't get to what BBT is. It's just the story of me and how we got to be here. But so the original vision is BBT helps people apply biblical principles at work through small group Bible study. So this community is familiar with small group format and studying and putting things into action. Think of that as you go into your office every day, right? That's where you spend the most time. But are you bringing Jesus with you? There's that Sunday, Monday gap. And so we give you the tools, so the curriculum, a technology, a coach, to really start applying what you're learning with the Bible. And so what that looks like is we have groups within corporate America, big, large companies that have a lot of policies and things, but it's because it's led by employees on their off work time that they can do these things. Now, small businesses can say, nope, you have the time and space to do Bible study with our team or with peers. They have a little bit more flexibility. So it can be done in the workplace. It can be done outside the workplace because your company doesn't allow for those things. So at a coffee shop or a restaurant, either before the workday or during the lunch hour. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday mornings and lunches are pretty popular for our groups. Gives them the time and space for that. But we also have a group of entrepreneurs that get together because entrepreneurship is lonely. So you name it, we probably have a group across the world. We had a group in Puerto Rico, a group of farmers that would stop over their lunch hour and they would study together. We have marketplace workers in India. We have serial entrepreneurs in Africa. So you name it, we've probably seen it. And if not, we can help you with some best practices to figure out what that looks like in your space and what God's calling you to. I'll pause there. I threw a lot of information out.
I think it's great. So how do these groups find you, or how do you find them?
I was just telling someone recently that before COVID, it was really hard for people to want to have meetings like this, right? The digital meetings didn't really happen. Phone calls were effective, but nobody was calling me from across the country, right? And thanks to social media, thanks to also even groups going from in person and only being in person to a virtual or a hybrid kind of structure because of COVID, it opened up a bigger audience, a bigger reach for us where people could say, well, you know what, I could hop on a Zoom at 7 a.m. before the workday with my coworker that I know is Christian across the country, and we've talked about it. It's just we can't meet. And so whether it's social media or a lot of word of mouth, just in the last 2 days, I can tell you 2 people have reached out or introduced me to someone who said, hey, I'm looking for this type of Bible study. I was talking to this person and you came to mind because they were talking about really how do they live their faith in the workplace. And so I don't have to go looking for anyone these days. I'm getting people reaching out on social media. We have an online form that people can look up. So it's really God connecting us in places that 5 or more years ago, 6 or more years ago, we wouldn't have had that opportunity. So it's really God blessing, also seeing how people are leaning into their faith. As much as you see in the news where people are not attending church, all the headlines that try to bring it down, I see more of the people that are, I need more of this. I didn't know this existed. How do I do this? So those are the fun conversations I get to have. And then connecting them in places where they can really live it out, but also to other resources. Just like Mike, you and I have talked about, there's this great demographic of people that really want to lean into it. So what are the resources, right? How can Follower of One be a help to them as they do that individual journey, but then also have small group? And then what do, right? Because they're hungry at that point. So it's just amazing to be able to witness and be able to connect where God puts people in your path. So,
yeah. And you have a number of these groups going. Typically, when somebody reaches out to you, do they want to join a group or do they want to start a group, or is it either or?
We get a little bit of both. Everybody has a model, right? Our model is that you start a group and you invite the people either around you in your workspace or your peers or within your church, because you have that meaningful relationship, right? It's really about the community and the relationship. You're not going to invite some stranger unless that's really how you like to do life, right? It's more comfortable that way because then you can share things and know it's a trusted space. But we do have folks that say, I really want to join a study. I'm just not ready to launch one. My travel is crazy or my work won't allow it and I just can't wrap my head around something else, right? So we do help people if there's cases where we have a few groups that are open to additional members. And they know that if someone new comes in from us sharing them with them, that they will eventually be equipped to start a group. And a lot of the times people want to just get a feel for it, right? How do you do this? I'm not a leader is what they'll say. And really, we create the studies so that people can really hop in and facilitate at any point. It's not difficult. There's an intro, there's scripture with 3 to 5 questions. So it's not hard. It can just be intimidating for some people. So sometimes they just have to experience it. So we actually started a few groups that will allow, and if we see like a connection point, we'll make an introduction and then they take it from there. But we also created a space every week on Wednesdays. We have a 7 a.m. and a 12 o'clock, what we call a sample group. People who are interested that maybe we talked to this week could hop into Wednesday's group as a demo, right? We show you the technology, you sit in with other people that are curious and interested in starting a group. And sometimes that even becomes a matchmaking opportunity because, hey, I don't have, this happened with 2 different sets of groups that one was 2 IT guys that said, hey, I want to start a group, but I don't have anybody to start with. So they started a group together from this sample group. And then entrepreneurs, same way. 2 female entrepreneurs said, I really need a space to just talk and share ideas and put God's word into my work. And so we were able to connect them and they're still going. It's a cool space to learn. With our weekly format now, people can stay on a little bit longer, but also learn from other people's questions. And so it's a kind of taste and see, but it also equips them to go out and lead on their own. It's just an opportunity.
Yeah. And you guys have a bunch of groups doing this, correct?
Yes. We have a few groups that aren't in our technology because of limitations in India and Africa right now with bandwidth and so on, that one leader pulls down the content. This is just best practices of we're learning as we go, where places where internet isn't reliable. With counting them in our system, we have about 65 groups going right now. And so that's from coast to coast in the US. We had the group in Puerto Rico for a time. And again, things are seasonal, right? They may study for a year and take the summer off. We've had groups in Puerto Rico, Uganda, in Africa. There's a group of Zimbabwe healthcare professionals that are getting ready to launch their own groups after being in one of those sample groups for a while, which is why we had the 7 a.m. because it was more favorable to their time zone. And then we have about 10 groups in India of marketplace leaders that are coming to know Jesus, want to share Jesus in a place that's unreached by Christianity. Like I said, every group is unique and diverse and really build their own community around each other. And so it's always a blessing to see and then hear the impact of what's happening.
Yeah, it's very cool. Now, also, you guys, the curriculum is in your system, correct? So explain to folks how much curriculum you have, what types of studies are available, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you bet. So we have this amazing ability through the gifts that God has given our team that our content director can use sources of materials. We have a partnership with Christianity Today, but we also have a partnership with Dynamic Catholic for their content. We have a partnership with local authors, with anything that has scripture within it that can be then applied to the work you do. And that is not one type of work or anything to that nature. It's universal in nature. We strip out the denominational accent. So if you're reading a dynamic Catholic study, you're not getting the feel that it's super Catholic. Or we had a Protestant pastor who had a sermon series that we created. We're going to strip that language out so it's universal, so no one's arguing about doctrine and things like that. But the content is used with permission from these sources so that we can provide a variety. So we have books of the Bible, we have topical studies, we have principles from book authors. We even have one study on Martin Luther King's letter in a Birmingham jail. So we really try to keep things of interest. We have a lot of requests for Job, and that's a big undertaking. So that one hasn't been done yet. But in total, we have about 3.5 years worth of content. And I'll explain what that means. That if you study every week for 52 weeks, you'll have 3.5 years worth of content. Now, our 15+ year groups can do that content multiple times over, but the new groups starting out, they have a big runway because sometimes these groups may not get through the prayer request because there's a lot of heavy things happening with the group, and that's okay. We give you the format of like an introductory story, 3 to 5 scriptures with questions about application. So the format's consistent from week to week, but you may not complete it all. The type A's like me, you're going to try to get through the content, right? Because you want to get to the next lesson. Now, if somebody misses a lesson, you're still getting a recap. You can still go into the technology to look at it, study it on your own if you'd like. I just talked to a group member just last week that said, I haven't been able to make our Monday group, but I still get the recaps. And so I still get to follow along. We all know that there's stories in the Bible, but you're not missing a huge chunk if you miss a week because you're getting the recap. So the technology just allows for that group to stay connected. They could be praying through the prayer requests that are submitted. They can be following up on those things. They can go back to something that they wrote a note about. And so between the technology and the curriculum, like you have everything in one spot. And so it really makes it easy for, hey, you know what? I'm traveling next week. Can you lead? It's all right there, right? You send the recap and you're done. It schedules the next meeting for next time. So we try to make it the easy button because I know we know how intimidating it is to be leading something, also be leading to the point of burnout too. We don't want one leader because that gets exhausting. And when you're not there, it doesn't happen. So really that co-leadership is important in facilitating and keeping that group going, because then people feel invested. People feel like they're part of it and they're not just attending.
Yeah.
So again, it's just gauging how a group is set up and empowering others to do the things, because we equip them with the materials. And that's also where our coach comes in, is when new people want to start a group, they understand that it's important to find that co-leader. That's your first task. We can help you figure out what you study after that, and we can give you a demo of the technology, but you really need that community, and then start praying about who else should be joining. And then that just brings longevity later.
Yeah, that's very cool. You and I have talked through some of this. I have attended the weekly lesson class.
Yeah.
I got to meet with Jay and learned about how things work, and also use the software that you guys have developed. It's really cool, and it's very helpful for just the whole small group facilitation. It's well designed for that, so it's very cool.
And it's very user experience specific for our types of groups. Developed it with a local software company that we partner with, and it is specific to how people run groups, the content, how a few clicks of a button, you have the next meeting sent out, or this meeting sent out and the next meeting scheduled. So it's really about the user, and we're not an Apple, so we're not going to be on the far cutting edge of things. We also don't have their budget, but we like to think that it's easy to come in, facilitate, everybody's on the same page, literally. And we even give everybody in the group access to the leader guide. Sometimes you get stuck, or sometimes you want to dig in a little bit further, and it just gives you a little bit. There's no right or wrong answer to our questions, because it's really about application, but you can dig in a little bit more.
Yeah, that's very cool. And so what's next for you guys? Are you looking for more content, or are you guys covered up? What's going on there?
We are always seeking. We have groups that are always looking for new content. So we often look for places where there's a faith and work component and application-based content. There are people that reach out to us that see our content and say, hey, I think this could work for you, or we reach out to others. So again, we're always looking for content, because there's never enough, because we have groups that just turn through it. So sometimes we'll even release some one-offs. Like we did a one-off on burnout. We did a one-off on being under pressure, stress, navigating AI. So we have a few partnerships that we can pull some topical things down. But then we have longer series. 12 is about our longest series, because after a while, that's a season for people. That's a fall to Christmas kind of thing, where we don't want to wear out the topic, if you will. Whether it's content or more groups, we want to serve people that are seeking to make that faith and work connection. And it's incredible to see the joy on their face when they're like, I didn't know this existed, but I need to have this in my life. So those are the times where you're like, yes, we are on point, on mission, right? So growth is in our priorities. Funding that growth is in our priorities, because we want it to be accessible. If our groups are blessed by it, then they can support the mission, just sort of one, that if it really speaks to you, then support it for either your group or the next group. And so, yeah, as we grow, funding needs grow, curriculum needs grow, more of our coaches' time grows. There's only so many one-on-one meetings you can have in a day. So as that grows, we can make those adjustments. And then obviously technology always has improvements and upgrades it needs. So we'll be rolling out some of those soon too, just by nature of what technology is and how it grows and what things we can do to provide and make the user experience even better. There's always more, but again, keeping God's abundance mindset in it, that we're growing for his purposes, for advancing his kingdom, or staying on mission and so on. Not growth for the sake of growing, it's growth for the kingdom. So
yeah, very cool. People can donate to take part in this, correct? Do you have a cost associated with the membership, or you just make a suggested donation amount, that type of thing?
Yeah, as we're talking to people, it's a suggested donation amount. We have regular donors, monthly donors, we have year-end donors. you name it, it's a nonprofit. We have that, but a lot of the times it's really helping people see the value in it and what the blessing is in their life to then gauge what's the support that you can provide. Corporations don't really have the ability because of being a religious nonprofit. There's a gray area there that's hard for them, but small businesses, we have a particular supporter that her business provides to us. So does she personally, but then also her employees that are blessed by it, they also donate. And so it's just amazing to see the stewardship that comes from really being in the Word and understanding how your work and provides then for others.
Very cool. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
You guys have any future plans? Anything that you're dreaming about going forward? How can people be praying for you?
Oh, thank you. I'm praying how we can serve people, right? Whether it's topics through our studies or partnerships with different organizations that can really make that growth exponential, being a blessing to other organizations, existing platforms. Why recreate the wheel with a Bible study that you could just position our things in place of it so that you're not recreating the wheel? So we're looking at partnerships, how we can serve the international market a little bit better with, say, translations and ways that we can do some best practices where, internet is not fantastic all day, every day, right? Here in the US, we don't experience rolling blackouts. How do you account for that whenever you're trying to pull down content? So it's interesting growing challenges, but it's again really about how do we serve the kingdom well, but also do it in partnership where we're all part of a body of Christ that is moving in the same direction to bring people closer to the Word, share it with others, and really see how the kingdom grows. And again, people have asked me, is international growth part of your plan? I said, not at first, but God's putting it in our plans. So that's where we're going and serving. Again, we are here to provide the content for people to, whatever the work may be, really apply that. And whether we don't have specific markets that we're looking at, because if we tried to create those instances, it's not of God's will. The person has to really be the one to take the initiative to start that group, and we support them along the way. So as we grow, it could be team growth, but we also know that thanks to technology, we can serve more people with a smaller team. It's our coach, Jay, it's Sarah, our content director, and our operations director, Karen, and myself. And we're a small but mighty team that can serve thousands across the globe. We can adapt and grow as that comes. But again, it's just being faithful and serving where God provides the opportunity.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. We've been talking for a few months now, and I want to take more of our content and submit it to you guys. I think we could probably end up having 5 or 6-week type of small group studies.
Absolutely.
That we would love to have in there. And then I've also started an online life group at a large church, and I think I'm going to try and figure out how to get that online life group's content that we're consuming coming out of your tools. I've still got to figure out how to do all that. I've done a bad job of getting people to help me lead that life group, but we've had a few people sign up. And so it's time for me to get the ball rolling on that. So I'm excited about both of those things.
And those are the things our team can help people with, right? You have content already. Is it something that we've talked about this, right? Is it something we adapt into our format so that it's a 360 reciprocal relationship where, you're referring people to us, we're referring people to you, because you serve different needs for people, right? Somebody can find you and then say, oh, wait, there's this content here I can take into my workplace and study. Again, it's leadership development. It's about community. Who doesn't want that in the workplace? It's trying to figure out how do things fit together so you're not recreating the wheel. Even with technology, like I love the chat platform and this live platform that you have. So it's putting heads together and figuring out, hey, can we collaborate on this? Because that's what God does. He gifts us with different tools and talents, and then why not share that?
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing.
And did you get a chance to take the Marketplace mission trip? You haven't done that yet, have you? Or did you?
I have not done it. When we talked, I signed up for one, and I didn't realize how fast it was starting, and so it didn't work out. So I'm waiting for the next one where I can be deliberate with putting time on my calendar and making sure that it happens. But I love the idea and the concept of it. It's really focused time for the first week, and then having that group discussion the second week. And this community, the thing that we're working to achieve in our upcoming technology upgrade is, how do we get people to be able to chat in a forum setting, right? Message each other and message the coach, and helping the group realize, the entire group realize, they have a coach. It's not like a life coach or beyond what the scope of help is, but hey, I'm struggling with this. Do you have any resources? Because we often meet so many people in so many different fields that, you know, I'm constantly connecting puzzle pieces, right? Of, oh, you're looking for this person does this, I'll connect you. And so that's what it's all about. So having that opportunity to really have this community, have the, hey, I'm in the engineering group, or I'm in the new group as I just joined. I had so many different people reach out to me when I first joined. It was so welcoming. It's just looking for ways to be able to plug in. And I work in faith and work all day long, but doesn't mean I don't need my own share of Marketplace mission trips, just to recenter and make sure I'm filling myself so that I can fill others.
Yeah. Yeah. And the next one is in less than 2 weeks. It's May the 3rd. It starts.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's in the community there over on the left-hand side.
Perfect.
I think it's mission trip number 45. But also, now you and I are both going to the Faith at Work Summit in June too, in Cincinnati. I want to invite everybody listening to this. You can get to Cincinnati June the 17th through the 19th. That's going to be a fun place to be because Lori's going to be there.
And Mike's going to be there.
And lots of other cool people are going to be there. In fact, I'm trying to get some stickers made that say, ask me about the Marketplace mission trip. Because there are a lot of people that will be there with different ministries who are familiar with the Marketplace mission trip. And so
I love that.
Just trying to get a little buzz going around that. But
it's funny how God connects you, because when we connected, we realized that I did an interview with, I work for him, they'll be there. And everybody in the Faith and Work space, which is great that they're participating in there. So it'll be this fun in-person interaction that I've had only digitally and virtually with a lot of different thought leaders and ministry leaders and marketplace leaders, that as much as this format is super easy because we are not in the same city and there are other people all over the place that are tuning in, it's so good to have some in-person time and be able to just come together for the same purpose. I'm really excited. I missed it a couple of years ago. I found out too late, and I specifically wrote it into my budget for this year because I was like, I'm going, because too many people have said, do you go to this? Have you gone to this? And what better place to share ideas and just be with each other for God's glory, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I think it will be fun. And if you get a chance, I was given the opportunity to do a breakout session.
Oh, wonderful. I missed that in the agenda, I think. Great.
Yeah, we're way down at the bottom on Thursday.
All right.
The last thing you can do on Thursday. But anyway, it's just...
That's wonderful.
I'm excited because I think we're becoming more dense. The people who are involved in Faith at Work, there's a lot more of us now.
Yeah.
And there are more ideas. There are more potential for interaction. There's more possibilities of collaboration and things like that. I actually met Jim and Martha in 2016 at this conference. That's when I met them.
Oh, that's wonderful. Jim will tell you he's been chasing me for an interview for 10 years because it just wasn't God's timing at the time. You know how it is. Time flies. And so that was his joke on our segment together, that it's took 10 years to get the interview. But what's funny is they're down the road from me in Missouri. And so we have to go all the way to Ohio to meet each other. But that's just how things work.
I'm really grateful for you doing this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're going to put a link.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to put a link to the website in the notes for this. And hopefully we can air this both inside and outside the community. That's something I'm working on doing so that we can share it a little more.
Love it.
I'm just excited about what's going on with the ministries and the possibilities of collaboration.
Absolutely.
And so it'll be exciting to see how God works through all that. So thank you very much for being a part of this.
Yeah, and I don't want to miss in saying you were on the podcast and looking forward to just collaborating more and sharing.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks to everyone who's listening as well. Edward and Bonk were on here. Thank you guys both. And anyone who's listening to this afterwards, connect with Lori. We'll have her connection information and her website in the show notes. So thanks everyone for being a part of Follower of One. Thanks for all of us for considering that we have a ministry to perform. Jesus has a job for us to do. And we get a chance to walk in that and enjoy that, but also we get the benefit of our friends doing that with us. So thanks very much to everyone doing this. Lori, thank you again. We'll see you later.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to see everyone. And I hope whether it's Follower One or BBT, we can help you bring Jesus into the workplace.
Amen. Thank you. See you later.
All right. Bye.